Hey guys, so for today, we are going to start our notes on industry, and tomorrow we will finish those notes. A little bit different notes today, instead of the how we've gone the rest of the trimester. This is just an ed puzzle. So the questions will appear for you as we go along, and you need to get the right answer to those in order to get credit for them, and then you get a score at the end. So this is probably how we'll do it for industry and agriculture, which is our next unit. But I will share the PowerPoints with you before we take the test, so you have those too. Okay, so industry fits with development extremely well. Okay, so we talked about like how we classify countries in the first part of this unit, and now the second part is going to be industry. Okay, how does industry work? Um, what is industry like in different countries? That sort of thing. Okay, and that's where we'll go here. Okay, so the four essential questions that we are going to answer today on day one of notes is: what is industry? What is cottage industry? What is the industrial revolution? And where are the world's industrial regions located? Okay, so by the end of the day today, you need to be able to answer those questions. Okay. So what is industry? Well, industry is making products through the use of machines and factories. Okay, that's what industry is. Pretty easy definition. Okay, making products through the use of machines and factories. Okay, a little bit of the history of industry is well, in the beginning, okay, way back before the Industrial Revolution, manufacturing was based in homes, which is called cottage industry. Okay, manufacturing based in homes is cottage industry, based in the home. Then the Industrial Revolution comes around, which was a series of changes in economic and social activities that brought about mass production. Okay, that's the definition of the Industrial Revolution. But it was really just a time of immense industrial growth. A lot of factories were being built, a lot of inventions were taking place, a lot of jobs were in factories. And it was a period of extreme growth and industrialization across the entire world. Okay, it began in the 1700s in Great Britain. Um, and the main factor that allowed this to happen was one is bodies of people and the amount of jobs and people that were able to be a part of the workforce. And the other major part is coal. It was a source of fuel that fueled engines that worked in these factories. And so it allowed this to take place. Okay. Next, so we answered two of the essential questions there. Okay. The next essential question is where are the world's industrial regions located? Well, number one is in Europe, okay, which was an industrial powerhouse in the 19th and early 20th centuries. Okay, and most of them were clustered in Western Europe and the former Soviet Union. So Western Europe is France and Great Britain and even Germany and countries like that, Italy, and then the rest of them were in the former Soviet Union, which was Russia. Okay. Um, in North America, it began a little bit later than Europe, but it grew faster. So in the United States, it doesn't happen quite in the 1760s. We know the United States doesn't even become a country until 1776. So they're a little bit later. They're more of the mid 18, early 1900s, where they really become an industrialized nation. But they are the major industrial power by the late 1800s, early 1900s. Okay. And this is able to be made possible by railroads. Okay, railroads were a huge invention in the United States in the late 1800s, and it allowed products to be shipped and things like that. Pittsburgh becomes the largest steel producer. It is, yeah, it makes sense that their football team is named the Steelers. That's not by accident. They were actually the steel factories in Pittsburgh played a big role in that economy. Um, and until recently, most of the factories have been in the northeast United States. Okay, recently, as in the last 50 years or so, they've spread out to the West Coast and even in the South. But early on, especially through the late 1800s and early 1900s, most of these factories were clustered in the Northeast United States, places like Pittsburgh and New England and Philadelphia and Boston and New York, and those places were kind of the factory capitals of the world, or of the United States. I'm sorry. As you can see here, these railroads that we talked about how important they were in 1893. Here's kind of the extent of the railroad network. Okay, and obviously you can see super important to get things to be able to get things from Boston to the Midwest, and even from Boston to the West Coast, and it allows products to be made and bought and transported much easier than by carrying them by horseback and things. Okay, so East Asia is kind of the last place where most of the world's factories are at. So we've got a lot in Europe, a lot in North America, and now East Asia is the other piece of that. Okay, but it hasn't really happened until recent. Okay, recently, like in the last 30 years, or even 40, they become an industrial powerhouse, and that is due to a high population. The more people you have, which means the more people making things, which makes you an industrial power. The more people that are in factories actually making things makes you more of an industrial power. Okay. And they also have become a powerhouse because in East Asia, there's not a lot of good natural resources. And so their one good natural resource is human labor. And so they use that because there's not a lot of natural resources that we think of that are good for industrialization. So they have to use the people to be able to become that industrial power. Okay. Um, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm not sure what's going on here. I will move this out of the way to finish up. Okay. There's lots of people willing to work for low wages there. Okay. Which is what allows them to be industrially successful. Okay. So that's it for today. We're on to day 2 notes tomorrow, okay, which gets a little more into the nitty gritty of what actual industry is, okay. But you again need to be able to answer those 4 essential questions, okay. What's industry? What's cottage industry? What is the Industrial Revolution? And where are the world's industrial regions located? Okay. If you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day.